You are looking at one of the most inhospitable places that exists. The ground is cracked by heat. The rocks scattered across the field look like they were thrown there without any logic. There is no shade. There is no water. There is nothing that suggests comfort or safety. There is only heat, dust, and the heavy silence of an environment that was never meant to receive visitors. And it is exactly here that two animals are already facing each other. They have already seen one another. They have already measured each other. The space between them has narrowed, and neither one has backed down. What is happening now is not an encounter, it is a confrontation that has already begun. But to understand what you are watching, you need to know each one of them. Because this confrontation only makes sense when you understand what each of these creatures represents, what they carry in their bodies, and what evolution spent millions of years building inside them. Let's start with the Komodo dragon, 4.5 meters in length. Between 70 and 90 kilograms, the largest living lizard on the planet, an animal so successful as a predator that nature simply stopped changing it a long time ago. It didn't need to. It was already working exactly the way it should. The first thing you notice when you see a Komodo dragon up close is the tongue. It comes in and out of the mouth, constantly, in quick, unrelenting movements, as if the animal is reading something invisible in the air. And that is exactly what it is doing. This forked tongue captures chemical particles from the environment and delivers them to an internal system called Jacobson's organ, which processes every piece of information with a precision that any modern device would struggle to replicate. The Komodo dragon can detect the smell of blood from kilometers away. It can identify the direction of prey without ever seeing it. The tongue is not a detail. The tongue is this animal's primary sensor, but there is something beyond its sense of smell. The Komodo dragon also sees. Not with the same sharpness as a mammal, but with a capacity to detect movement that most people overlook. Its eyes are positioned to offer a wide field of vision, and anything that moves within that field receives immediate attention. It is not simply sensing the environment around it. It is monitoring, processing, deciding. Every second it remains still, it is collecting more information than it appears to be. Then you look at the skin, and here is a detail that most people do not know. What covers the body of the Komodo dragon is not ordinary scales. They are structures called osteoderms, small bone plates embedded directly into the hide, spread across the entire body, forming a kind of biological armor distributed beneath the surface of the skin. From the outside, it looks like regular leather. But on the inside, there is a rigid mesh that absorbs impact, resists cuts, and makes any attempt by another predator to bite through it far more difficult than it appears. This animal does not carry armor. It is the armor, and that armor has history. The osteoderms of the Komodo dragon become denser over time. An older individual carries more consolidated protection than a younger one. It is as if the body hardens as the animal accumulates experience. Evolution did not give it sharp claws or impressive speed. It gave it endurance. It gave it permanence. The idea that this lizard will keep existing, keep functioning, regardless of what comes in front of it. But none of this is the Komodo dragon's primary weapon. The primary weapon is in its mouth. In the glands located in the lower jaw, this lizard produces highly potent anticoagulant substances. The moment its teeth make contact with the flesh of prey, those substances pass directly into the bloodstream, and then a silent, gradual, and inevitable process begins. The blood loses its ability to clot, blood pressure drops, the prey's body begins to weaken from the inside out, unable to defend itself against something it cannot see. This process can last hours, it can last days. The Komodo dragon does not need to be present to win. It bites once, pulls back, and waits. Time works for it. The teeth complete this system. They are serrated, curved slightly backward, designed not to pierce deep, but to tear and hold. Once that jaw closes around something, letting go is a problem that belongs exclusively to whoever was bitten. And the force of that jaw is not trivial. Biomechanical studies show that the Komodo dragon does not bite with the greatest force in the animal kingdom, but it compensates with the efficiency of the movement. It does not try to crush, it tries to open, to tear, to create a wound that the venom can occupy. It is a combination that has worked for millions of years because it does not depend on perfection, it depends on contact. Now the weakness. It exists and it matters. The Komodo dragon is not an animal built for long physical endurance. Its top speed is around 20 kilometers per hour, and only in very short bursts. After that, the body demands rest. The natural strategy of this animal is the ambush. It waits, it strikes once, it pulls back. In open ground, without cover, without the advantage of surprise, it requires far more effort to impose itself. If the opponent does not retreat, if it keeps pressing without stopping, the Komodo dragon will wear down. And a worn-down Komodo dragon is an animal that depends entirely on its venom to win, which may not be enough depending on who it is dealing with. There is one more thing about the Komodo dragon that rarely gets mentioned. It is an animal that has virtually no natural predators as an adult. It did not evolve to feel threatened. It did not evolve to panic. When most animals face a dangerous opponent, there is a point where the instinct to flee overrides everything else. The Komodo dragon does not have that switch in the same way. It was never required. And that absence of fear, that deep biological confidence, is itself a weapon. An animal that does not flinch is an animal that is very difficult to intimidate. And the animal standing in front of it right now is the wild boar, 80 kilograms. 4 legs that look too short for that body, but that in practice work like compressed springs, capable of launching the animal into full acceleration in fractions of a second. The wild boar is one of the most underestimated animals in the entire animal kingdom. And that underestimation has already cost many predators dearly, those who thought they had the situation under control. The snout is the first thing that defines this animal. Wide, hard, reinforced by a structure of cartilage and bone that makes it resistant to frontal impacts in an impressive way. That snout is used to dig the ground in search of food, but it works equally well for striking opponents with a force that surprises anyone on the receiving end. It is a shield and a weapon at the same time, mounted directly on the front of its face. But what most people never stop to think about is what that snout represents in terms of construction. It is not soft. It does not give. The internal cartilage functions like a shock absorber that redistributes the impact across the entire skull, which means a wild boar can deliver a full-force frontal headbutt and keep functioning normally right after. It does not feel the impact the way its opponent does. While the other is still processing the blow, the boar is already repositioning for the next one. The tusks complete the picture. The lower tusks of the wild boar grow upward and outward at a very specific angle, and that angle is not accidental. A quick upward movement of the head can open a deep cut 30 centimeters long in less than a second. These tusks grow throughout the entire life of the animal. The older the boar, the longer, more curved, and more dangerous they become. A fully grown wild boar with years of experience is one of the most serious opponents any predator can face in open ground. And there is a detail about those tusks that changes everything. They sharpen themselves. Every time the boar closes its mouth, the upper and lower tusks grind against each other, and that friction naturally hones the edges over time. The boar does not need to do anything to keep its weapons in condition. The simple act of existing already does that for it. Every meal, every yawn, every jaw movement contributes to keeping that edge sharper. The endurance of this animal is another point that needs to be emphasized. The lungs of the wild boar are large relative to its body size. It can maintain continuous physical pressure for far longer than it appears. It does not slow down easily. It does not retreat by instinct. It was shaped by evolution to face situations of extreme risk and keep functioning. Lions have tried. Leopards have tried. Hyenas in groups have tried. The wild boar is still here. And then there is the pain tolerance. The wild boar does not process pain the way most animals do. Studies on its physiology suggest a nervous system that suppresses the acute response to injury during high-stress situations. In practical terms, this means a boar that has already been wounded can continue fighting at nearly full capacity. It does not stop to assess the damage. It does not slow down because something hurts. It continues. And an opponent that cannot be stopped by pain alone is an opponent that forces you to find a different answer. There is one more aspect of the wild boar that needs to be addressed: the skin of the neck. This specific region of the body is covered by an extremely thick layer of subcutaneous tissue that works as natural protection against bites. Predators that attempt to grab a wild boar by the neck often find that their teeth simply do not reach where they need to go. The fat and fibrous tissue absorb much of what would otherwise be a decisive strike. It is not invulnerability, but it is a margin of safety that makes a difference when the opponent depends on a precise bite to deliver its venom. But the weakness exists here too. The wild boar attacks with its head. That is where the snout is, the tusks, the majority of this animal's offensive force. But attacking with the head means bringing the head close to the opponent. And the opponent standing in front of it right now has a mouthful of substances that do not need depth to work. They only need contact. Two animals completely opposite in everything. One was built for patience, for the single, precise strike, followed by silence and waiting. The other was built for constant pressure, for not stopping, not yielding, not letting the opponent breathe. One kills slowly, from the inside. The other tries to end everything fast, through direct force. They are already in the field, already face to face. The question is not who is stronger. The question is which of the two strategies will last longer, which of the two will make the first mistake, and which of the two will understand the opponent in front of it before it is too late. You are watching it happen right now.